When seconds matter, the police are just minutes away. What are your thoughts on this statement? Have you ever had to call the police and they took too long to deal with the matter, e.g. you had to use a weapon? Yes, LeMayo. Not self-defense, but still relatable. Domestic dispute across the street. Wife got caught cheating in the middle of it. Hooting and hollering, so cops get called. Cops decide to walk instead of drive. Eventually, husband boofs wife in the face with shotgun. Other dude runs off. Yeah, calling 911 doesn't teleport a cop into your house. It's fucked up, but true. Forgot to enter cheat code. Even in The Sims, they arrived just a bit too late to catch the damn burglar. Minutes. Nova Scotia RCMP released terrifying timeline of 13-hour shooting rampage. Nova Scotia RCMP provided a detailed account of the incidents on April 18 and 19, during which a deadly shooting rampage took the lives of 22 people. Inflation is really fucking you guys up, isn't it? Not even the seconds are safe. Uvalde says hello. It's a pretty straightforward statement. To answer your question though, we had a tweaker walk right into my house. After confronting her and calling the cops, I got her to leave. It took 35 minutes for a sheriff deputy to get to our area. And despite there being nowhere to go, they didn't find her. A family member went to the local gas station 1 mile down the road, and the tweaker was there. It took the sheriff another 15 minutes to arrive at the gas station. I was armed luckily, but that reinforced why I keep a gun around. Well, in my grandma's town, the police station is a 45-minute highway drive away. Once a week there's a cop car that spends the night, they alternate towns, in the town, so you could be lucky if you get invaded on that day. Be me, neckbearding in mom's basement. Doorbell rings. That's weird. Mom almost always calls ahead if she's going to need me to open the door. Go upstairs. Doorbell still ringing. I'm coming. No response. Mom always responds. Who's there? Only response is banging on the door, on the screen door. Get the fuck out, shitbird. No response. Call police. They'll be there soon, don't worry. Yeah, right. Screen door opens, now banging on the actual door. Run to room, grab 12 gauge. Sounds like he's trying to break it down. Not sure how the piece of shit is holding up. Engage boomer mode, rack shotgun. Get the fuck out before I blow you straight to hell. Hear the screen door slam shut. Deputy arrives a couple minutes later. Says it's been happening all over the county. Some big dude sucker punches you when you open the door, grabs anything he can, then runs. He's been staying in town to try to catch him since the cops are too lazy to show up. Drives around with searchlight, comes back. Didn't find anything. Says he wants to stick around for a bit. Cops arrive 20 minutes later. Pissed that they have to be there. Pissed that deputy is there. Pissed that I used the gun. Pissed that they have to look around. Pissed that they don't find anything. No shit, Sherlock. It's been half an hour at this point. Tell me to call if it happens again and leaves. Deputy says I should call them instead if it happens again. Implies that I should just wait for him to break through the door and pull the trigger. They'll take care of the rest. Continued. Couple years later. Still basement dwelling neckbeard. Now keeping a pistol on me. Mom comes home. Runs straight to the bathroom without closing the door. Been being a shithead lately. Decide to go upstairs and talk about her day like a good son. Get halfway up the stairs. Hear the screen door open. The fuck? Practically jump over the rest of the stairs. Some skater tard is standing by the door looking around. Pull pistol. Start yelling. Kid runs. Mom saw. Called the cops. I call the sheriff. Give them description. Sheriff shows up 10 minutes later. Has skater tard with him. Saw him running down the street and grabbed him. Dude was high as a kite and didn't realize he went into the wrong house. Sheriff makes him apologize to both Mom and I. Takes him to county for possession. Cops show up almost an hour later. Pissed that they have to be there. Pissed that I pulled my pistol. Pissed that I called the sheriff. Pissed that the sheriff didn't tell them he already got the guy. Pissed that we didn't let them know the sheriff already got the guy. Pissed that the sheriff's department gets the credit, despite not doing shit to do it themselves. Huff about like an ignored high school thought. Leave. And people wonder why I don't bother with the local cops. Sure, I've had amicable interactions with them, and they've really stepped it up in the last few years. But I'd still rather be able to deal with it myself and call the sheriff. Deputy says I should call them instead if it happens again. What the fuck did he think you did? Invite the guy in with a free dinner? Get in a wreck at 70 miles per hour on the highway. Not my fault. I was constellation damage. Call cops. 45 minutes later, they still haven't shown up. Leave after connecting info and go to PD a few days later to file a report. Fortunately, no one had any injuries in the moment, and I didn't sustain any at all. Drove my car home that day. My car got bounced off of, hit on the driver's rear corner, taking out my taillight and putting a fist-sized dent in the fender. The other guy that got hit was driving a Saturn, so his plastic fender exploded on impact, and he had some neck and back pain a few days later. He had his car fixed within a few days with a trip to the pick-and pool. The lady that caused it totaled the fuck out of her 2013 Lincoln and had to have it towed. I don't know if she was hurt and don't care because her insurance paid to fix our shit. Former cop here. This statement is very accurate. Depending on where you are located, it can take up to 30 minutes for the first patrol car to arrive. There were several cases I worked that would have ended very differently if the victim had been armed. Yes, had to deal with an intruder at my old workplace. Took the police almost 30 minutes to arrive. Neighbor can't sleep and is sitting on his balcony at 2 a.m. Sees convoy of 4 cars arrive in the front of his home. 5 guys with AKs and full military gear step out. Thankfully, they can't see him because his balcony is pitch dark and obscured by plants. One of them jumps the gate to his driveway, puts a laptop on the hood of his car and starts doing something. He notices one of the cars in the convoy is a shitbox, but the other 3 are the same model and year as his own. He sneaks inside and calls the cops. It took the thieves 15 minutes to crack his lock and break open his gate. The cops didn't show that night, even though he called them 5 more times. Plus a few other neighbors also called the cops as this was happening. They didn't say someone is stealing a car, they said to 911, there are people with automatic weapons on the streets. They only came 12 hours later and started wiping off potential fingerprints while the neighbor was inside his home looking for insurance papers. Another neighbor saw them. There are 2 police stations and a SWAT barracks within a 5-minute drive of our street. Such is life in Eastern Europe. Also, the main drug importer in my city is the chief district attorney. One time the border police accidentally seized 5 tons of cocaine at the airport. Turns out they were some of the few honest cops and everybody forgot about them. A day later, the cocaine disappears from evidence and no one was ever arrested or even questioned, nor was anyone ever punished for 5 metric tons of cocaine disappearing from police headquarters. Fuck cops. Be me. Rent a 70-yard dumpster to do work around my building. Aware that people like to fill it up with their garbage and be a pain in my ass. My parents come over and my dad wants me to inspect the work done. I go to take a shower. Within 15 minutes, my GF bursts in and says, My 75-year-old dad got pushed by a dumpster pirate. I barely towel off and grab my Glock 19 and proceed outside in shorts and t-shirt. Two 20-something white trash assholes are trying to dump in my dumpster with their fat honey boo-boo mom. Get in the face of the first white trash kid for pushing my dad. I am in citizen's arrest mode, taking pictures of their license plate, place their garbage behind their car so they can't leave. Call the police. They tell me 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Eventually, white trash assholes drive off. I call the police and speak to supervisor. He says to me, "I drove by and you seem to have everything under control." White trash assholes dump their garbage on the edge of my property. I get a ticket for open storage of garbage on my property. I hate the city of St. Louis. You know what to do next time. They let my neighbor, who raped my 12-year-old sister, his own daughters, the youngest was 2, his niece and nephews, and had fucked his own mother, walk. All 'cause they was kinfolk. Funny how plainclothes cops all live far outside their means through taking bribes and kickbacks. If you get a text, don't always expect the guards to help you. Reminder that even if you call them, and even if they show up, they won't help you. From what I've found is people simply don't want police around to deal with it because of this. Reprisals are going to happen. Courts are simply going to try to treat you as a suspect. Find something to aim the police at, and basically you're the worst criminal because you're out of some home association owner code. The person that punched you in the head and is threatening to break into your house when you're not around and tear it apart isn't under any suspicion. Police won't go near their home. They can walk right up to your place, fuck it up, and then the town/governance center will blame you for having property damage and not being up to code, and all sorts of bullshit like that. When they say throwing stones about glass houses, what they mean is every house is glass, and if a piece of it happens to get broken, we're going to show up to fine you over it and create more problems for you. Let me tell you a story. Living with wife in the middle of nowhere. I'm a geologist and mechanical engineer. She's a biologist. Trees are her thing. Living site was heavily forested with volcanic activity, Washington State. We do a lot of hunting and have some gardens set up, and are self-sufficient because the closest town is 5 to 8 hours away on logging trails in the warm months. Quiet, peaceful, wonderful life. Human contact is rare, mostly just our suppliers and work, and forest rangers and the town cops. Never even had a problem with animals, and there are grizzlies and black bears, so we do carry. Middle of the night, wake up to sounds downstairs, definitely human, mumbling, possibly more than one. Wife gets her double barrel, I get my Benelli. Contact PD and Rangers. As we wait, barricaded in our bedroom, second floor, they will be here ASP. Say to stay barricaded in room. Motherfucker kicks our door in, pushes our armoire I had put up against it back about a foot. Then charges in, shoving past the armoire, as if it were nothing. Human, big human, wearing camouflage. Wife and I open up on him. He falls to the floor screaming, gets up, eats another salvo from us, and runs the fuck off. For fucking clean hits with double-aught buckshot, 4, we can identify them from holes in the walls behind, and with the blood and viscera patterns. I'm a damn good shot. My wife might be better. Eats clay pigeons for breakfast, lol. We're both aiming center mass and quite confident the hits were quite good. Blood and mess was horrific. Arterial sprays down the wall. Down the stairs, through our living room to the kitchen and into the bush. Serious what the fucking. Ranger arrives at dawn. Cops a couple hours later. When all are gathered, cops follow the blood trail into the animal trails in the nasty wooded area filled with brambles/raspberries. Find a big pool of blood, but nothing else. Was about 200 yards in. Call the police because of a school shooting. They hang outside for hours until the shooter offs himself. Pretty much sums up how I feel about cops. If they won't try and save a bunch of their friends' kids from being killed, they certainly won't try to help you. Call police because of breaking and entering. Ran the guy off myself, but got their plates and description. Small town police department says I'm outside their jurisdiction. Tells me to call the sheriff. Do so. Sheriff's deputy takes 30 minutes to show up. I live maybe 15 minutes outside of town. Raining by the time he gets there. They can't take any fingerprints. Nothing ever comes from it. Could be better, could be worse. I can only hope, but never want to find out how long it would take them to show up to an actual crime in progress/emergency situation. Be rural cop. Get call that woman's ex-hubby is drunk and attempting to gain entry to the home with a crowbar. Arrive on scene about 10 minutes later. Ex-hubby is laying dead on the stairs to the basement. She barricaded her children in the bathroom downstairs and confronted him as he was coming down the stairs. He stated his intent was to kill her and the kids before burning the house down. She drew a no-name .38 special purchased from a pawn shop and shot him twice in the chest. First round destroyed most of his right lung. Second shot destroyed his heart and most of his left lung. On his phone were search terms such as kill wife, dispose of body, and make arson look like accident. I am reasonably certain, had she not been armed, we would have shown up to a multiple homicide. I got a story. Driving pregnant wife to appointment. Some utter fucking retard stops in the middle of a fast roadway to make an illegal turn. Me and 3 others almost slam into him. Lay on the horn. Guy makes his move. Drives away. Dude fucking does a 180 and starts following us. Get to doctor's office. Screams threats at us, only leaves when he sees that children are near. Call cops on him. Head inside and wait. Watch my car to see if he doubles back. Thankfully nothing happened. Cops had a car posted outside the office by the time we left. I hate people so goddamn much. I'm actually astounded the police bothered to show up, but I can't imagine what goes through people's minds when they are willing to throw their lives away over something so fucking petty. Shit like this is why everyone should carry. It would stop lunatics like this overnight. If we trusted cops to do a good job, K wouldn't exist. I'm not a lefty or Antifa type whatsoever, but I do somewhat agree with the sentiment of ACAB. Statistically speaking, they will never and can never help you. They can pull you over and bleed you for money over traffic violations, or they can take photos of your mutilated corpse. Call police because there's a tweaked out nigger screaming in the road throwing trash at cars. 40 minutes later, police show up, take a statement, and leave. Literal gunfight in some derelict looking property down the road from me in Niggville. Call police. Show up 1 hour later. Set up crime scene tape. Property vandalized in an arson attack. Police show up after the fire department. They take a statement and leave. Yeah, realistically, even if we were able to catch who did it, and if we could get a conviction, you'd basically get like $10 a month for the rest of his life. Since nobody saw who did it, we likely won't be investigating this incident further. Fuck cops. All they can do is make your life worse. Pro level cop move. on a domestic violence call. Tell both parties you will have to arrest them if either presses charges to save yourself from having to do any paperwork. It took them about 10 minutes to respond to a domestic in my area. Sheriff's office and city HQ are both maybe 3-minute drive away. And a loose German Shepherd on the job site took them about 5 minutes to come with dog capture shit. Had either of these actually gone south, it would have been up to us to deal with it. It's not so much a statement of fuck the police, but it's more a fact that the first factor for saving your life is you. I have two. Story 1. Live in student-oriented apartment in college. Complex group chat starts blowing up. Apparently it didn't do is going door to door with a gun robbing people at their doorstep. Entire complex chimping out. Frat bros posting pictures of their guns pointed at their doors. Women melting down. Cops show up, wander around the complex for like 10 minutes. Then dude has vanished into the wind, so cops just leave. Story 2. Laying in bed on my phone. 1 a.m. Storming outside. Dog starts going ballistic at the front door. Yell at him to stop barking at Thunder. That's not Thunder. Someone is jiggling the handle of my front door. Grab AR and post up in the hall. Yell, fuck off, at the door. Unknown individuals start slamming their whole body into my front door. Yell, you don't live here. Go home. Let me in, I promise I'll be good. Nope. Call cops. Stay posted up with a rifle pointed at door for like 10 minutes. Thumping and jiggling stops. Cop calls me asking if I know this girl. Tell them I don't know her and she needs to leave. Apparently the person body slamming my door is a drunk girl with zero boundaries, who's never heard the word no before. Eventually see her friend drive up through my window, and her just leave. She dented my door, almost got shot, and didn't even get a PI. One time my mom legit got kidnapped by one of her exes. It didn't last long, thankfully. Guy came to our house at night and my mom went to confront him. He grabbed her and stuffed her in his car and they drove around for a bit. I guess eventually the guy pussied out and let her go after like 5 minutes and left. My big brother came out too and almost got run over trying to get our mom back. When the guy dropped off my mom and drove off, we immediately called the cops and my aunts. Aunts came in like 5 minutes. Cops took like an entire hour to come. Thankfully my aunts were there to calm her down while the cops went to grab coffee and donuts before coming to us. The guy got let off scot-free because we were poor and didn't have enough money to press charges and afford a lawyer. And obviously the city and the DA aren't gonna take on a job if they don't have to. I have no idea where that man is today, but thankfully we never heard from him again. To this day, even after remarrying and getting us a cool new dad, she still has night terrors and wakes up screaming every so often. I have no idea how she pulled through it. The most bizarre thing of all is that she still hates guns and hates that I own guns. If that ever happens again, I don't give a shit if I go to prison for manslaughter. I'm ventilating any motherfucker that touches me or my mother. Have you ever had to call the police and they took too long to deal with the matter? It's what really opened my mind to gun ownership. Be me as a child. Can't remember how old, but young. Live in a tight-knit neighborhood in a really small town. Neighbor calls us up. Tells us they just got a call from the neighborhood old lady. Someone banging on her door trying to get in. Neighbor came to their balcony and shouted him off. Says the guy was holding something big. Dad hides my mom and my sister in the deepest room in the house. He and my brother get their guns and post up. We and 2 other of our neighbors call 911. They never show up. I realized then that your safety is ultimately up to you, and it is irresponsible to put your life in the hands of someone else. 911, help! Someone is breaking into my house. Cops may come, may not. Depends on the hellhole you live in. 911, someone is breaking into my house and I have a gun. Or 911, someone was breaking into my house and I shot him. Cops on scene within minutes. Seen it multiple times in my life. Personally, in my particular hellhole, cops don't prevent crime. They investigate it after the fact. Kung Kung. Truth. Wife's trash can, best friends. Husband beat the shit out of her one night. Runs to my place fearing for her life, knowing about my power level. This bitch steals her husband's 5 beagles and brings them with her to my house, unannounced. Are you fucking kidding me? .jpg. Husband quits blowing up Kentucky battered housewife's phone. Begins calling and texting suicidal shit to my wife. Oh boy. .wav. 1 a.m. This dude pulls into my front yard, which is a half-acre dirt lot. Starts blaring his horn and revving his engine in my yard. Me on my porch with my Remington 870 Express Magnum, waiting for homie to fuck around and find out. Abuser stops his car, begins shrieking shit out the window. Speech is garbled except the words, kill you. Click click boom, _ saliva.mp3. Fire salt shot into the air. Abuser squeals wheels and peels. Fast forward to 0800, 7 hours later. Sheriff's Department rocks up to my property asking about noise from my place last night. I don't know. Shrugs. They leave. If you don't have a weapon, you're physically and psychologically ready to deploy. You're not gonna fucking make it. More like when your Democrat-appointed DAs refuse to prosecute, your police stop answering calls. Called the cops last weekend because some nignog was playing chicken with cars in the road in front of my house and screaming, "It's the weekend!" like a maniac. Called me 5 minutes later saying they caught him and asking me details so as to charge him. Nah, but I have exactly one experience that convinced me police are incompetent. B17, home alone. Doorbell rings on a Saturday morning. Come to the door and see a cop standing there. Tells me something about the home alarm going off. Door must have not shut and tripped it. Ask how long ago this was. About 45 minutes. I will never trust the police to resolve an urgent issue ever again. It didn't take 15 minutes to drive between any 2 points in that town on the busiest day. What are your thoughts on this statement? It really misses the key point of citizen-police relations in the post-2020 environment. I will fix it for you. When seconds matter, police would just arrest you and let the perp go free, because it's easier to build a case against a legitimate man with a paper trail instead of the no-address tweaker/nigger you just shot. We all watched those live streams. We all saw cops letting looters do their thing. We all saw dozens of cases of self-defense from rioters/Antifa result in the defender getting multiple felony charges. No, not just Rittenhouse and Kenosha. The guy in Albuquerque who was about to get stabbed. The bar owner in Kansas City. The LA shopkeep with the chainsaw. The idiot boomer lawyers in St. Louis who should have just opened fire since the mob had broken through the gate to get there. So forth and so on. Police don't exist to bring criminals to justice. They exist to protect criminals from lynch justice. Yeah, at least 30 minutes when they come. Can take up to an hour. 10 minutes if you are very lucky. I would know. I used to call all the time. A bunch of jackasses used to shoot fireworks inside my home and go away every time police was too slow. My 2-door entry room was burned with full-on burn marks. I had enough, so I got ready and shoot one with my Gewehr 98 straight through the door as I waited for 2 whole days. It was some large city university kid I got. Mom tried to sue, then I threatened her with suing her with conspiracy to commit crime and pyromania, so she shut up. I fucking hate liberals. Every country, every place, they are the same bastard. Managed to get away with self-defense. If you want something done, do it yourself, because they sure ain't do shit. Cops are always too slow for urgencies, unless they are liberals and have a alt-right guy walking the rich people's street. I was a rural sheriff's deputy. One night we got a call about a home invasion from an elderly woman stating a man was breaking in. I was the closest patrol, nearly 25 miles away. By the time I arrived, he had slit her throat and stolen her car. She bled out as I got there. We caught him a few hours later, driving her truck and covered with blood. Not police, but ambulance. When my grandmother had a stroke, be like 13, rural fag. Grandmother is living with me and parents due to health problems. No big deal, nice having her around. One day she can't feel her arm and is slurring. Honey, I'm having a stroke. Call ambulance. Yeah, we can get there in like 45 minutes. Call Dad. What do? Get her in the car and drive her to the hospital, you retard. I've only driven once before. Luckily I made it without much issue and she did recover fine. But that experience did teach me counting exclusively on emergency services is a poor idea. I called the police about a domestic incident and they just didn't care. Rolled up, got irritated with me and treated me like shit for calling about it. Told people fighting to cut it out in 5 seconds. Then left. Made it my resolution the next year to never call the cops for anything. They want to act like that, they can bitch at their PTSD meetings about being too late. One time, me and my friend were being chased down Santa Monica Boulevard by a homeless dude at 1 a.m. The streets were basically empty and we were all on bikes. My friend had sucker punched this dude because he had bipolar disorder. And also I think he had a flashback to prison or something and freaked out because the homeless dude was a Mexican Sereno. Anyways, I don't get into street fights, so I was just trying to convince my friend to run and he was trying to convince me to lure the dude down the alleyway and jump him. At one point I tried to flag down an LAPD driving by, but they basically just waved back and smiled. As a dude who knows, it's often not even the cops themselves, it's the fucking responders who take the 911 calls. Thing is, everything in a certain region gets routed to a call center, so that call center might be something like a day's drive away from the relevant precinct. So when the center gets a whole lot of calls, they need to prioritize a bit. Which means less major sounding ones get dropped, so generally that will be the B&Es and not the ambulances. Because to the phone operators who get to sit in a nice booth and never face what they're dealing with, a 6'2" black man climbing through your window with your TV is less important than the dude currently having a heart attack. So the cop can be as fast as he fucking wants. But as what happened to a buddy of mine, it doesn't matter if the cop gets there in 9 seconds. If the actual call was made 20 minutes ago and dispatch only just sent it over now, fortunately, the caller that time was an ex-cop and knew what that shit was. Be me, visiting a city in North Scandinavia on a nice summer night. 2 cops come out of nowhere and say, "Anon Antonsen, let's talk." Grabs me by the arms, practically carrying me off. Tells me to show ID. We want to talk about your fucking attitude. They found the Discord logs.png. What attitude? You know what it's about. Now get out of here. My face went. I still haven't got a single clue how the fuck they knew my name or what I've done wrong. I'm the only person in the entire world with my name, so they couldn't have mistaken me for someone else. Can anyone here tell me what that was about? The only scenario I can think of is that literal Glow Negro has seen my online activity.